Hi friends, welcome back to my crafty desk. Sandra here at Blossom and Inspire, and I'm just going to do a very quick video. Well, I always say it's going to be quick and it never is. I'm going to do my best to make it as quick as possible. I am not a sewer by any means, a seamstress, sewer, sewing machine user, pro at all. I am self-taught, and I also have a very hard time reading and understanding directions. That's just something that's I have to learn to live with. But I have figured this sewing machine out, and I have had to use the book once, I think. So here's the book my sewing machine came with, and I'm like in here when I first got it trying to read all these things, and I thought, oh my gosh, there's just no way. So I put that aside. My husband came and showed me how to thread it, and the other thing that was in there was this sheet right here, and whoops, oh my gosh, I have a different setup for this to see. I'm going to knock this a couple times in advance. I apologize for every time I do it. But inside there is this fold-out sheet, and this quick guide fold-out sheet is, it gives me upper threading, and it also gives me, on that back side of it, preparing the bobbin thread. Oops, preparing the bobbin thread. So when my husband was showing this to me, I asked him, please, can we use this cheat sheet thing, this little thing, because this is probably what I'll always go back to. So I do keep this handy. So my machine is a Brother XR3340. So I plugged my machine in, and I plugged my little foot in, and so my foot's down below. The first thing I do when I sit down to sewing is I turn it on, and I also unplug it when I'm not using it. So I turn my little button on, but I always turn it off when I walk away. These are, I don't know if you can see, there's like little arrows. I believe that is the speed in which you can push your pedal, so it can go faster or slower. These little buttons here, these dictate whatever stitch I'm going to use. Let me see if I can move my camera a little bit. So all those little stitches down there have numbers on them. And then all you do, if you want, if I want to do a zigzag, I'm going to put this, my zigzag is 0.5, so I'm going to leave that at 0, and I'm going to change that one to 5. That's it. Now these right here let me know how long the stitch is and how wide the stitch is. I still get mixed up on what they are, so when I decide on a stitch that I want and I'm not positive, I just take a random piece of paper and I'll stick it down in there. So say, for instance, if we're doing a straight line, that can actually make like a, what is it called? Perforated, anyways. Like, you're just gonna literally pull your sheet apart if your stitches are not wide enough apart. So let me go back down to that. Let's just try one of those. We're gonna go to number 2. And can you make it smaller? Yeah, I'll make it the smallest one, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. I don't even know what that's for, so whoops. It won't let me. E1. What does E1 mean? Oh, my pedal's up. See, it's telling me, Sandra, pay attention. And then I can see where my needle's lined up. It lets you pick, so for this width right here, for my line that's going down, when I press this button here, I can watch my needle shift over, and there's little lines, a little ruler. I mean, like, it's pretty much like, I just kind of figured this out. I was like, oh, that's what this does. So I moved that. I can start with putting my foot inside, or my needle inside my paper. My foot's down now. And then I can just start sewing. And then I'm going to stop there. I'm going to lift my needle. I know all machines are a little bit different. So you can see how close that stitch is right there. It is just going to like just eat my paper up. So what I'm going to do, now that I know that, I'm going to go ahead and put my paper back in there, line it up where I want, using my ruler if I was using this, or my foot pedal, whatever I was using for my lining it out. And I'm going to come over here, and I want to see that there's a line that comes down. That one is going to give me how long in between the stitches. I already know this one moves my foot, so I know which way, how far over I want it on that one. So I'm just going to go to the biggest one that allows, which is a 5, and drop my needle down. I don't know if you have to drop your needle down. I just do it. And then I'm going to go ahead and Give that a little bit of a sew. I'm done. Just needed a few stitches there. And now you can see how far in between those ones went. You can see how tiny those ones were and how far those ones are. So now I don't have to worry about, my little holes are not so close together that it's going to make my page like one of those where it can just tear apart easily. Don't want to be a tangled mess. So if you're going to use your paper, just go ahead and snip your pieces off so you don't get all tangled up in your with your bobbin and your threads, because they do like to get tangled. And I'm not a pro at this, so please, all the tips that people know that they want to share, if they're seeing something, if I'm saying something maybe not in the right context or something, like, feel free to let us know. I mean, we're all in this together. So I'm going to drop my foot down just to keep my paper still. I'm going to go ahead and do a zigzag stitch now, so 5. And then it presets settings already. So I want to see what do those settings look like on my paper. And pull it out. And when I'm trying to decide on a setting, when I'm using my paper, this is how I do it. So I'll put that one in there, and then where's my, I need a pen. Oh my gosh, so unprepared. It's so unlike me. So unlike me. So I just wrote 05 for the stitch that I chose, and then just the way I see it, just like how it's like this, I just wrote them just the same way. That's just for me. That's my visual, how I work. I don't have to write any extra notes. I know that that's what I'm going to be seeing. Now, if I want to do another stitch, I mean the same stitch, 05, but a different width and length. And I really don't know the difference of these. I don't. I'd have to look in my book, but like I said, the book confuses me. So I just play with it until I find what I like. So this says up here, it says check, and this says delete or add. I'm going to try this one. We'll move this one first only and see what happens. So we'll go to the highest one, drop the needle down, and away we go. And we're done. So I'm going to put down here, I'm going to put 1.4, and I'll show you what's 1.4 and 7.0. That's the one we just did on that one. Now I'm going to come back on this and get some of these threads off. I'll just follow that line. I find that there's a few stitches that I like the most to do like all the time, and so this is a great way to give yourself, you know, like that little cheat sheet card, so you can go to your sewing machine and you can know, or a little card that I just keep next to my area on my favorite stitches and what they look like with the numbers that I chose. Wouldn't that be so much easier? It's like those little what are those cards called where you put all your paint on, or your markers? A swatch. Yeah, like I need a threading, a sewing machine swatch. So now I don't remember what that number started off at, so my cheat for this is I'm just going to change my stitch and then I'm going to go back. It presets it. So I know that I did this one at 7 and that was at 1.4. So now let's make this one the biggest so I can see the difference on what those are. Drop my needle down, pedal to the metal, and pull that up. So let me write this one down. This one we did at 4.0. What? 4.0. Oh, duh. I know. 4.0. Oh my gosh, I'm losing my mind. Losing it. And 3.5. Well, here's how we started off with this. So I want the zigzag stitch, which is 05, chosen right there. And what it starts off at, whoops, when it's preset at 1.4 and 3.5, and that's the stitch I'm going to get. So I want to leave the 1.4 and I want to change the 3.5, the bottom number, to the highest number, largest number that it'll go, so I can see what the difference is. That's the difference for the stitch. Whoops, sorry about that. Then I wanted to go back to the 1.4, 3.5 beginning setting, and I wanted it to just change the top one. So from 1.4, I changed it to the 4.0, which was the largest number that I could go to, and then I left the bottom number to the regular setting. Does that make sense? Now I can see what the difference is. So now I like both of them. So what would be an in-between thing? So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Let's just see. So a 2 and a 5. A 2 and a 5. I feel like I'm in Vegas. Rolling dice. A 2 and a 5. Here we go. I've only been to Vegas a couple times. I don't play dice games. I don't know what I'm talking about. it's all that TV I watch. Get a couple more stitches. And then, and let's play with that for a second too. Yeah, so that's slower, faster. This is like Speedy Gonzales. Whoa, yeah, I will definitely be messing things up. So I leave it right in the middle. Now we have that. So you can see the difference in the stitches by using the numbers. Now, there was a gal on here once when I was watching her, and she had these, her thread was so thick and bold, and I was like, oh my gosh, how does she do that? Does she just go over and over? Does she use a giant thick thread? How does that work? I don't even know. So I asked her, and she said, oh, I don't really know. She goes, I don't know much about my sewing machine. She goes, it's just a stitch that's on my machine. I mean, she knew enough to sew, but she says, it's just a stitch that's on my machine. So my machine has thick stitches too. So what I noticed is some of these down here, I'm afraid if I move you, I'm gonna drop my phone. Anyways, off this thing. But I can try. I can try this. Let's show you. We don't have any light. I need light. So on my stitches, on my machine, it also has that little grid right here. It's the same grid right here. So on this booklet, you'll see how some of them are bold and some of them aren't. So that's what I learned. It's probably in the book. It probably tells me, but I showed you the book. I'm not gonna read that book. I'm gonna get lost in it. So the bold ones means that it's thicker. So let's try one that's thick and one that's thin with the same stitch so we can see together. I'm gonna pick a flower. So I'm gonna change this to 3 and oh. The only other thing I did, I heard somebody on YouTube once, I think is when I was watching them, and they said, lift your needle when you're changing your stitch because your needle moves. So if you're doing one thing and then you change your stitch, I think it like pushes it through the fabric. Somebody please correct me and make that make sense. I'm not really sure what I'm saying. I know what I'm trying to say, but I don't think I'm saying it right. Maybe it doesn't make any difference. But I've kind of tried to follow that rule of thumb. So well, I'm at 30, and I'm gonna make everything bigger because I'm on paper. So I'm just gonna make them to the biggest ones. So number 30 is going to be my thick stitch, and I'm doing like, it's like you can call it whatever you want, flower, star, asterisk with a line. But I want to get a few on here so you can see it. Okay, that's good enough. Whoops, that just went backwards. Lordy. So then I want to change my setting. I lifted my needle, and I'm just going to keep going where I'm at. And I want to make the same stitch, but I'm going to do it in the skinny one, but I forgot, I think it's in the 7s. The 70 something, what the heck? I spy with my little eye. Yeah, 70. I think this is right. We'll see. Okay, same thing. I'm going to do it as large as it'll go. And then drop my needle down and then continue. Okay, yeehaw, you can see the difference. Now, because I made my star really big, they don't look like stars, but they are the same thing. Let me show you what we have. I don't know if this is a very good example, mostly because I have all these shadows. But you can see there's the thick one, and there's the thin one. Now, because I had my stitches, my numbers moved around, I think that's why I got these funny stars, or maybe it's the stitch. I really don't know. Like I said, I really don't know fully what I'm talking about. I know enough to make this work and keep it happy and make pretty things that I think are pretty. So there's that about the stitches, and that's pretty much all there is to that I know. And then, like I said, just playing around with it here and there. So now let's do some threading. Threading's actually pretty easy. Oh, also, sorry, back. And this is gonna kind of go with the threading. So here's this little knob right here. Let me see. Oh my gosh, be careful. Okay, I gotta move this anyways because you're not gonna be able to see. So on the top of the machine, there's where you're going to put the thread in. I already have my thread in. I'm going to take it out. And this is where I would do my bobbiny stuff. And then my thread, I put it in here. I put my little tightener thingy on here, and then I wrap and I pull it around all these things. There's diagrams to help me, and there's also that cheat sheet to help me. But there's also this little doohickey right here, that little dial. And everybody has something like this. It's the tension. And I have found midway is where my tension is. Now, I was having lots of trouble with this, and I've watched many people use their sewing machines, and almost everybody says about the midway point generally for what we're doing is where they find that happy medium where the thread, almost all the threads they use work okay. That's going to be another thing. When I know what my tension's not good is when my thread is getting really loose or lagging anywhere. And when I notice that, I have learned the hard way, just stop, get it adjusted, because I have never made it through an entire line or anything when I start seeing that loopy stuff. It just goes crazy. So something must get like hung up or knotted or something. So they've got to have that tension. Now let's go ahead and do some threading. See if I can do this with you. This new holder that I have, as I set it, it kind of goes into a resting position, like this is where I'm gonna land. So I want to be all the way on here as much as I can on the top. So this right here, I can't, there's like a little piece here. I have to pull the whole thing off to get that off. This little doohickey here. And then I'm just going to pull my thread through. Now, when you're threading it, I always forget which way the thread goes when it comes off of this thing, and I'm pretty sure I'm doing it right where it comes, you know, around this way. Let me see if I can make myself be in the camera. So it's coming this way, see? The way I gauge it is on also is some of these threading, what are these called? Whatever. There's like this little thing where you can put your thread, where you can catch it in, so it saves it for you. I know if it's on this side, of when I put it on there, then as it unwinds, it catches in there and it stops me, and then it breaks my thread. So I try to always look for this piece right here, and if I have one on these, I stick it on this end like so, just like that. And then I put my little cap, cap, I don't know what it's called, the closer. So I put that thing on there, and I don't do it too tight. I do it tight, I do it snug, but there's like a little tiny give. That's it, just a little bit. And then I take my thread, and I don't use my cheat sheet for this because I know how to thread it. So let me see if it's on here so we can do it together. So this probably shows me the whole thing. So step one, turn your machine on. It's talking about the foot and all the buttons, and don't really know what that means there. So, oh, am I supposed to have one of those on the back side too? So my thing, I think I can move it different ways, but I don't know how to do it. And so I tried and I couldn't do it. So I stopped. This works for me. So here we go. We're going to put the thread on, and the thread comes, see, this right here shows me that the thread comes from underneath. But if I do that, like that, then I have that piece right there. So I don't do that. I don't know. Somebody please correct me. And if I'm doing something wrong and that's why it's catching, please let me know. Please. I have no one to go to help me with this but here. So I'm going to go over to show you if it's wrong, that I'm wrong, but it works for me so far. Not to say it's going to work on every machine. So then I take the thread. It's going to go around, like I said, under that little hook thing right here, and then it's going to come up and then around this thing right here, and then it's going to drop down in here. You're going to go down and then up and then back down. And then then you're set down where your needle is. We'll get back down there in a second. So let's do this. So I've got my thread on there, and then I hook it around here, and then I hook it around there. And all this does, this is just going to keep this thread in line with here. And then I'm going to drop it down. Okay, I guess we're gonna stay in resting position because, so I'm gonna take my thread down here. Okay, I'm fighting with my new arm here, so I'm gonna have to try and hold this and do it at the same time. Otherwise, you're just gonna flip around on me here. So I came down this side, and then I come down and around. Did you see that? So this piece right here, and it has a little arrow down here, and it even has the number 3 on there, so you can see, should coincide with whatever your directions are, I guess, maybe. So I'm gonna come down, and I'm gonna come around, and oh, geez, I'm gonna try and, I gotta go left-handed now. So down and around, and then you wanna make sure you get up in there. So I usually just give it a little tug because I'm not a pro, so I'm gonna give it a little tug, and then I can see my little, do you see that hook in there? I'm just gonna pull it around and pull it through. And it's hard to see, but I can see that it's on that metal. I can move my thread and see, yeah, it's on that hook. That's what I want. Now I'm gonna come back down here, and then this is where you thread your needle. And so they say turn your thing off because you don't want a needle in the finger, so turn the machine off. That also turns the light off, unfortunately. Isn't that silly? Like, why isn't there a light to stay on? Like, I'm gonna turn that off, but I want to press this button for the light. Somebody, there probably are sewing machines out there that have that. I just don't have that one. Okay, hold on a second. See if I can get this situated. I'm pretty sure I need both hands to floss my, to thread my, to thread my needle. All right, so I'm gonna do my best. I have to do this kind of one-handed here. I'm gonna lower my foot down, and here's where your foot lever is. Whoops. Now these are in the book. Some of this stuff is pretty simple to see. So I'm lowering my foot. I'm gonna take my thread, and there's like a threader thing right here. I struggle trying to work that thing. So there's directions, and once you get it figured out, it's pretty easy. There's a little piece right here that you can put your thread through, and it holds it in place. And you use this whole mechanism together. I go ahead and I put my thread inside that little piece right here, which I can't do one-handed, and then that holds it, and then I can thread my needle. So all you do is you take it and push it through there, but I need one hand to hold it up here and one hand to pull it. Ouch. So give me 1 second, I'll be right back. Okay, so I just simply pushed it through. It's like an open thing. I don't know, maybe does that, oh, look, you can see how dirty my stuff is. I gotta get this clean too. So I have that in there now, and now my thread is going to be set. It's held still, and I can go ahead and give this a trim. Whoops, sorry. I can give this a trim, and everybody, I'm pretty sure, knows how to thread a needle because I think we do. But if you don't, I'm going to give it a cut, and then I'm going to stick it in that hole. Sometimes you got to moisten the tip. So I'm just probably need to get my tip moistened. All right. Yep. So sometimes you got to moisten the tip, and then you can stick it in. Perfect. Just like that. Oh, and I did it one-handed by moistening it. So let's see if I can keep a hold of it. Now it's done. I'm going to lift my foot. I hope I was on camera. Lift my foot back up. I'm going to actually turn mine on because you can't really see. And then I'm going to take my thread, and I'm going to go in between this foot and bring it to the back so it's out of my way. The other thing is, my bobbin on this machine, my first machine, I had to like stick it in there, and then I had to drop my needle down, catch it, and then, whoops, sorry, and then I would catch it, and then when the needle caught it, I would pull them out, and I would have them both out, and they would both be this way. This one, I like this machine better because I can just take my bobbin, whoops, and pull that thread out. So I've got my needle threaded. I can just take my bobbin, and I can just drop it in there. I need a little bit of this piece right here. And it actually shows you, there's a little cheat sheet right there that shows you which way to drop your bobbin in and which way not to, and how you're going to pull your thread through. So I know that I need to pull my thread a specific way, so I'm going to drop my bobbin in like so, and there, my thread, and then I'm going to take it around this thing here. All right, and then I'm going to grab my thread right here. So I drop my bobbin in, and I'm just going to follow this little guide and then pull it off. So it's very easy to do that, and I like it. And then I just simply stick my little window thing here on. Okay, so the bobbin is in there. And here's my thread that I went from threading my needle. There's that is. My bobbin is down in there. I wrapped it around this little thing here. And all I have to do now is put my paper in to test it out, to show you. And then I'm going to go ahead and drop my needle down. And I've got it on a zigzag, and I want to just see what's going to happen. Now my bobbin's almost out of thread, so hopefully this will work okay. All right, I'm going to pull up my foot, pull up my needle, lift up my foot, and then, yeah, and you can see both my threads right here. They're connected. I'm going to now give them a snippity snip off my, get this off my, and then I just always go back and make sure, because I have a bad habit of pulling my thread out from underneath there. They both want to be underneath, and I just move them to the back and out of my way. And that's that part of that, so I'll be right back. Okay, so those are my basics. I think they're very, oh my gosh, I'm definitely not a teacher for this. So I apologize if I've confused you at all, but I'm doing my very best to try to figure this out with you. Now, I did have to use my book a couple of times. There was one time where I thought I broke my machine, and it was my needle wasn't in correctly. So I had changed my needle, and so what happened is I just took the needle out, which you would think is very simple, and I just put a new needle in. And I mean, in all honesty, it is pretty simple. There was one little thing I didn't realize until I got into my book to see what my problem was. Like, what could it be? What could it be? My problems didn't start until I changed that needle. So I was pretty sure it had something to do with that needle. And so I grabbed my book, and I can't remember where it's at in here, but I went through it, and it was telling me when you're putting your needle in, that's what I was looking for. When you put your needle in, and I was reading it, and it says, it has a flat side. Do I have a needle in here? Do I? I don't know. This is the little goodie box, right? So you have all these other pieces, which I don't know what to do with these. I mean, I know that's to clean it with, but here we go. This thing right here. This has got some needles in here. Singer needles, universal. Does that mean that you can use them on your brother? I have a Singer also. So here's another crazy story. So I had a Singer, and I was using that, and everything was happy. And how the heck do you open this? Oh, geez. And I had a Singer. I still have a Singer, actually. And it quit working, and I was like, I don't know why. So I couldn't figure it out, and so I thought, I'm just gonna go. So I bought another sewing machine, and I bought a brother. I thought, well, I'm not buying a Singer again. I'll buy a brother. And you can't see. It's gonna be like, I got the needle out of there, but I'm gonna try and turn it a little bit so you can see. There's an actual flat edge, and it's very hard. It really is not the easiest thing to see, but there's a flat side. My flat side, I don't know if they all do, but the flat side, there's some, get back in the camera. I don't know if you can see this or not. The lighting is not that great. I'm so sorry. Is it better over here? There's writing. There's like a stamped into the flat part. And you can feel it. Like, you got to really feel for it. So you need to make sure the flat part is at the back, at least on my sewing machine, at the back. Well, what happened is after this sewing machine, the brother, when I figured that out, I thought, oh, I put it in there, and it was like brand new again. So I thought, oh my gosh, that's all it was. Crazy. So crazy. And then I thought, you know what? I think that's when my other sewing machine was being not happy, was after I have found another needle. I'm going to see if you can see it better on this one. I wonder if that was the reason why. And lo and behold, it was. So now whoops, sorry, I'm not even on the camera. So you can see there's like a flat, and it's just one side of it is flat. It's not the easiest to see, but there it is. So anyways, lo and behold, that's all it was. It was my needle. I didn't thread it correctly. I mean, the needle, I put it in that thing, easy peasy, but I did not make sure the flat side was to the back. So I did that. Now I have two sewing machines, so that's really great. I haven't had to use two sewing machines, mostly because I don't have room to put two up right now. But anyhow, I have two sewing machines. So I guess if you want to come over and sew with me, I've got another sewing machine. I also have a little tiny one that I bought that I never use either. So there's that. That's for the whole sewing thing. There's not much more to it. Anything outside of those parts, I do seek. I go on YouTube and look for some little videos, but mostly it's just practicing. Once I get my needle in, once I get my thread in, my bobbin in, I just kind of practice with my little stitches, and then I'm good to go. I didn't spend a lot of money on my machines. I know they're expensive, but it was an easy thing to save up for. And I want to say my Singer cost was in the $200 range because they go on sale. And then my brother, I think I spent a little bit more because I wanted this little bobbin thing. After having to do the other bobbin one and not being able to see, I thought I definitely want one that I can see through. So this one did, I want to say I spent somewhere between the $300 and $400 range on this one, but I love it. I'm happy. I don't regret the money. So let me go see about the Singer and see what's going on over there. I'll be right back. Oh my gosh, I have a mess. I want to show you my Singer. There it is. It's sitting on this, I have this dresser thingy that I painted and I labeled for all the ribbons. I think I showed this to you once. I'm getting rid of all my big furniture. It's not working for me, but I want to show you my Singer. I'm going to clean this off real quick and make a mess somewhere else, and I'll show you. Okay, I cleaned off in front of it. Oh my gosh. And then I just put that right in front of me. I already almost fell forward onto my sewing machine. Oh my gosh. Okay, it's always fun. So this one, here's its foot, and its cord right there. It's not plugged in or anything, so I can't show you anything like that. But it's simple. It's a, here's the tension thing right here, and it's still set right where I like it. It's around that midsection. The putting your thread and stuff in. So this one, it comes out really easy, and I didn't want to lose it, so I just took it out and I have it tucked away right now. This is where the bobbin thing goes right here. It has some little instructions. This is where I would thread my needle, my threading down to come to my needle, and then this is where I thread it around to do the bobbin thing right here. So that's all pretty much the same. I get a back stitch thing right here. This one is, it's digital also, so I can choose my setting, my stitch setting. Lots of stitches on this one. And I chose this one when I first got it. This is the Singer Fashion Mate. When I chose it, it was on the cheaper end of sewing machines. It was not the very cheapest one, but it was pretty cheap in cost-wise. But it had so many different stitches. Like, I just wanted some stitches to play with. And this has actually got a few stitches the other one the brother doesn't have, I'm noticing. So maybe I need to get this girl up and going. But anyhow, back over to here. This is what I came to show you. So down here is where you do all your thread. You thread your needle. You still have your foot lever back here, right here. And you can move your, do your threading. This is the little knob that you right here that you untwist and twist to put your needle in, so it's pretty simple. And then in here, I can get this off. This either slides or pulls, and I have to use two hands, so I'll be right back. Okay, it pulls, but it's like hooked in there, so it doesn't just fall out. So I pull this out, and then this has all my little goodies inside this little box. My little contraption there, and that's, you can see my little stick for my threads right there with the little cap on it, so it all stays together. And then to do my bobbin, see this one I have to, there's my bobbin thing right there. This one I have to open it up like this, and I have to set my bobbin inside of a little contraption and then put it in there, and I have to make sure it's all setting right. I don't like all that. It's too much little tiny finger movement for me, and and then when I close it, I have to then drop my needle down and pull it up and catch it, and then pull my threads out before I can use it. I hope that makes sense. And then I'm just going to pop that back in there before I forget what I'm doing. So there, that's my Singer. I have the two sewing machines. No, I have 3 sewing machines. Let me see if I can locate my other sewing machine. I found it. See, there she is. She's just sitting there. This is cute. She's tiny. She's portable. I tried playing with it in the beginning when I was first trying to learn sewing machines, and I bought this from a friend off at a yard sale. But it's very small. It's portable, and it has low and high. And I think that is for the stitching, how fast this thing goes. And it went to me, maybe I just had it stuck on high and I didn't know that. It went so fast that it terrified me. And I was like, I don't know. And it could be just because operator error. Look how tiny the pedal is. So I probably just put all my force on there and didn't know. Who knows? I'm going to try it again, because what a cute little thing, just as a portable little sewing machine to take with you. But I liked it because it also had the drop down in there, which you can see I have a plastic bobbin. I don't like plastic bobbins. They're not my friend. But there, now see, there's another mess, a lot of mess. There's a mess everywhere. I got to redo my whole craft room. So I'm going to be redoing my whole craft room. I'm trying to fix my craft room. I'm going to be redoing my whole craft room setup. I'm going to give you a quick glance since we're up and out. Here's real life. Here's real life insanity. So I've got Halloween stuff out. I've got that I'm kind of trying to figure out what I want to do. I've got a bunch of stuff down here that I need to, things I want to play with, things that I haven't gotten to put away yet. Stack and stacky stack, and there's stuff I need that's underneath there probably, but I didn't remember what I did. And then see that pile right there? That's like all the stuff I'm like, oh, I got to put this away. I don't have time, so I'm just going to stack it. And that's it. Isn't that horrible? Look at that. It's a horrible mess. Anyways, I know I'm not the only one. There you are. Here's my shelf of projects. A bazillion projects to be done, and some started, some not started, and things like that. And I'm currently, where my sewing machine is, it's way away from my working desk, and it usually sits right there in that empty spot. So there's the pockets that I haven't finished sewing. There's that purse full of thread. See, I never even put the thread away yet, because that's where my thread goes, and my drawers are full, so I need to figure out something different. Maybe only putting a couple of colors in the drawers and putting the rest behind. So that's my sewing section right here. My lighting is horrible. I have those ceiling lights, but they're not great. And oh, there's my toilet. That's not nice. You don't want to see that. So I have those ceiling lights, and my husband put the softer lights in for me because it was reflecting off my eye. I didn't like it. However, I don't have much light, and so my little lights that you see, those little ring lights, they're not great. They don't give me much light at all. So I'm struggling with trying to figure out lighting that works. And then I have myself like caved in here, and then I have this little walkway. Look at this messy Sandra. And then you can see, oh, there's Wanda. Hi, Wanda. Look at this big mess. So I have projects that I would like to do, some projects that are unfinished, some things that need to be put away. Like, it's just a big mad mess in here. Oh my gosh, my doggy is barking. Oh, UPS is here. I wonder what we're getting. Anyhow, whoops, I just walked on something that I probably needed, and now here we are at my desk. So I'll just show you. Isn't that, I don't want to walk the maze to sewing, so I just need to refigure out my room and get things situated. There's that crazy arm that I was using, and so I had it bent down here, and that's why I kept hitting it. I like the arm, how it bends, but the thing that holds my phone doesn't stay. I don't like that at all. So this kind of went on a little different type of a thing here, like a little tour of the madness and messiness. So right now in my craft room state, the way it is right now, this is where I start to feel like I'm not creative, because my stuff is falling down on top of me. And so at this point is usually where I stop and I start cleaning. But I took my break that I would normally use if I was going to take a break from cleaning. I needed to take the break for my hands, and so because of that, I ended up with still a very messy room. Anyhow, so there's the messy madness of my room. Look at that, crazy. Somebody who wants to come help. Okay, my friends, well, I'm going to get to working on some stuff so I can have some different videos besides just this little tutorial, which I'm not sure how great of a tutorial it was, but I did do my best. If you have any questions or want me to show something else that I didn't show on this, I'd be more than happy to oblige. Just let me know. If I'm able to do it, I'll definitely give it a shot. And again, please leave any tips, tricks, or real advice in the comments, or even email me. If you don't feel comfortable putting it in the comments, send me an email. My email is always in the description box. If you don't know how to get to the description box, underneath this video, I believe it's where you can tap it. I think it says like starts a description. and I believe there's a little word that says more. If you click that, touch that, it opens up a box, generally pops open to the right. If you're on a computer, I think it's still the same way. It pops open to the right. And that's where you can see the description box. And if you scroll down that description box, you can see all kinds of stuff in there that I have typed up, or anybody who has a description box filled with stuff in all their things. You can find all kinds of stuff in there. And if you want to read other people's comments, then you just click the comments. And when I'm sure you know that, and you can see the comments, and you can read through there. Sometimes people ask questions or point out things that you might have wanted to know about yourself, and you can see the responses in there. Anyhow, just thought I'd share. I hope you enjoyed the video. I enjoyed spending time with you as always. Now it's time to get to crafting. Have a great day, my friends. Enjoy all your moments. Bye.